Hi class, I'm Dr. Dilmar. Welcome to our course, Multicultural Studies. I wanted to start off the week, it's our introduction week, I wanted to start off with a welcome video to not only welcome you into the class, but welcome you into a part of my online learning community. We are going to be spending a lot of time together this semester, so I thought we would get to know each other. I do want to go over a couple of expectations and a few things that you'll need to know to be successful in the class. So hopefully you've got a pen and a piece of paper. If not, maybe pause the video and go ahead and grab that. Okay, you ready? Okay, well before we jump into expectations and all that good jazz, I want to tell you a little bit about me. My name is Dr. Amy Dilmar, and I am an adjunct professor for the school. So what does adjunct mean? Adjunct means that I also have a full-time position, and that's at an elementary school, and I'm an assistant principal. In addition to being an assistant principal at an elementary school, I then work for a couple of universities teaching for online classes. So that's pretty much what adjunct means. And that'll be important to you in a few minutes when we talk about communication and some expectations. So a little bit about me. I live in Columbus, Georgia. I'm not native to this area. I actually live here because I work at a local Army base. I've traveled around the world with my job. I do work for the federal government, and I love to travel, so that's exciting that I get to mix in the work and the travel. I have two older children. I have an 18 and a 22-year-old who's also taking college classes. Been married for over 24 years, and I have two dogs. I have a Yorkie Terrier. That's not the tiny little teacup terriers or Yorkies you might see. It's a bigger kind of Yorkie. And then I have a dog that we actually got from the Humane Society. And so there's Roxy, who's the Yorkie, and then Finn, who's our mixed breed. So that's my family. So if you ever hear a little dog barking in the background, that's probably Roxy or Finn. I have a PhD in curriculum and instruction, so education is my primary focus for my graduate degrees. But in addition to the curriculum and instruction PhD, I also have a master's degree in history, and I also teach history online. So that's a little bit about me. We will get to know each other more as the semester unfolds, but I wanted you to be able to put a name to a face through this video and just know, a few tidbits about me. So I do want to jump a little right into some of the expectations for the course so that we are all on the same page as we move forward. First and foremost, the first thing you should do this week is print your syllabus and go through and mark your calendars to make sure that all of the due dates are noted in whatever personal calendar method you use, whether it's electronic or hard copy calendar. I'm sure that you all have some system that works for you. The course calendar that we have, the one embedded within our course, will certainly have all the due dates, but I find most people need to balance those due dates with everything else in your life. So first and foremost, I really want everyone to go through that syllabus carefully and work on marking those due dates for the whole semester. That's very important because I know, like me, you have things come up. There's certain weeks you're busier than others. So it's really important to kind of know when you have maybe like a heavy week of assignments coming up. That way you can pace yourself. If there's a holiday, then you might be able to use that to catch up or to work ahead. All of those things are very important. It's not just the week-to-week grind. It really is looking at the course calendar from a bird's eye view. So I would really like for you guys to all do that this week. Going through the syllabus, you're going to find that the best way to communicate with me is through the course email address. There is an emergency contact. It's my personal Gmail account, and you can certainly use that if you need to email me for an emergency. However, I'm pretty good about working with email. Pretty much every day, even on the weekends, for the most part, you'll always get an email from me within 24 hours. So make sure that you do have my personal email written down, though, if you do have an emergency, and that you know how to check your email. Not only that you know how to check your email, but you need to kind of put it into your mind frame, to check your email at least once every 24 hours to see if there's any important messages that have come. And that's your communication protocol. As far as in assignments and due dates, I do tend to be flexible with students who email me and notify me ahead of time if they need some flexibility with due dates. So I'm not a stickler where, I'm going to take 10% off if you are a day late if you communicate with me ahead of time. Of course, then that means that you cannot have a pattern of being late. So, if you're the student that's late every single week, then I will have to deduct points, and you and I will need to have a conversation, because I really think that those late assignments should only be in a rare occasion. So if something comes up and you need a day or two flexibility, I expect that may happen for you, but definitely not once or twice, more than once or twice per course. So kind of put that in the back of your head. And remember, there's some things that you can be late on them, and there's some things you can't. So if it's a discussion board where the discussion relies on your replies, of course, those replies are less meaningful if they're late. So just kind of put that in the back of your mind as you plan out your semester. That just spirals back to the conversation about your calendar. And then, of course, the last week or two of class, it's almost impossible to give students too many days if you can't turn things in on time, because the school has expectations for turning in final grades. So once again, make sure that you've prepared yourself, because around midterms and finals, there's a lot going on, and you want to make sure that you don't put yourself in a hole or back yourself into a corner. So moving on, let's talk a little bit about I told you that communication, I'm on email, pretty much once a day. I do tend to be pretty strong in that area as far as in giving you timely responses, but I want to talk about grades and what your expectations will be as far as in receiving feedback from me. So on the weekends is typically when I start grading assignments for the assignments that are due that day. So for example, if most of your assignments are due at 11:59 on Sunday, I'll start grading any of the assignments that are already turned in, and then I'll work through those assignments as they come in. So if you are one of the last people to turn in your assignments, you may see that your grade's not posted until, say, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at the latest. But if you turn your assignment in, say on Friday or Saturday, and it's due on a Sunday, typically you'll get the grade by that Sunday. There's a rare occasion, especially if it's a lengthy assignment, that I may be 1 week out, so I may be into the next weekend grading papers, particularly, like I said, if it's like a multi-page assignment. But you'll never go more than a week without getting your grades from me. The same thing as, like I said, with the email, I'm checking it every day. So what happens if you turn in something late and you don't get a grade, or your grade didn't get posted and it's beyond those terms that I just mentioned, or say you even send me an email and it's been more than a day or so and you haven't heard a response? I'm very comfortable with you responding to me and say, hey, Dr. Dilmar, do you mind, did you see this email, or can you just check my paper? I want to make sure you got it. I'm completely okay with you doing that, because sometimes with email, if you get a lot, you may overlook one. So if you haven't got a timely response from me, please do reach out. Just checking my list here to see what else we need to talk about. I sometimes will, when I write, I might say Dr. D. You certainly may put Dr. D in your correspondence with me. I'm fine with that. I work with little kids, and so sometimes, I don't know, Dilmar is difficult for them, so I'm comfortable with Dr. D or Dr. Dilmar. So that's that with communication. Discussion boards. Let's talk about discussion boards for a few minutes. So discussion boards are not just a place for you to recite what you've read. And this is something that I find is a key kind of a learning curve for students. So what I find is that in the beginning, especially if you're new to discussion boards, what a student will do is just basically repeat to me what they've read or what they've seen on a video. That's really not the intent of a discussion board. The discussion board is a platform for us to be able to extend our learning, and I'll be participating in those discussion boards as well. The discussion board is where you post and you post your reflections, what you learned. A big one is citing evidence from the text. So you give us that evidence to support your thinking. Again, I'm going to repeat that. You're giving us your evidence to support your thinking. So you're doing that for us, but then how do we reply? Or how do you reply? That reply has to extend the thinking. So it needs to add something. Think about value added. What is the value you're adding in your reply? Is it adding new information? Again, not just your opinion, some other kind of citation from the text. So in such and such reading you found, and that can support your thinking. So you might be agreeing with the person, you might be disagreeing with the person, you may just be adding something extra. But it is extremely important that we're talking about facts and evidence and citations, and that we're really building kind of that comprehensive knowledge together. So your job is just like my job as a professor in that role, is that we are helping your classmates, and you are helping us, we're helping you to build that understanding. So that's your responsibility for a discussion board, and as well as mine. So we're equal partners in those. So I really wanted to mention that because that's a fundamental part of the learning for the course. You know, essays and quizzes and things like those, that's pretty cut and dry. You know, you have your rubric, everything's spelled out for you. But discussion boards really can go kind of a couple of different ways. And so sometimes students aren't necessarily familiar with that. So kind of think about that as you're posting. You're probably hearing the dogs in the background right now. I think they can see my reflection in the window over here. What else do we want to talk about in this welcome video? I want to talk to you a little bit about the muddiest forum. So what is the muddiest forum? A couple of you have already emailed me because you saw that posted. This is not a graded assignment. This is not something that you have to turn in something every week. The muddiest forum is a place where if you have a question, you'll post your question and either I or one of your classmates will respond. I'm not offended if you have questions or need clarifying, something clarified about an assignment. So what's the expectation? The expectation is basically you use it as needed. I do want you to monitor that though, because you may be able to help your classmates in answering those questions. It might be a day or two and I haven't responded. Somebody may be working on an assignment at the same time you're working on an assignment, and if you see a question pop up, then that's going to be a great way for you to be able to help them out immediately. You guys might even provide some understanding to each other. So do try to monitor that muddiest forum and see if you can help people out, or if you have questions, just post it there. Sorry again about the dogs. They're usually not this loud. They're usually lazy and they sleep all the time. So that's just some expectations. I know we're going into close to 15 minutes, and I really wanted to keep this welcome video shorter than 15 minutes. One final thought: every Sunday evening, I'm going to post a video, and that video will emphasize the importance of the assignments that are coming up for the week, and kind of share with you some of my thoughts and value that you're going to get from the assignments. It'll clarify the due dates. It's kind of like a weekend review, but for the upcoming week. I would love to be able to say that that there's no weeks that I'll miss that video. It could potentially come up that I missed the video on a Sunday, but generally you'll have a video from me every week. I am a proponent of learning how to extend our abilities as Christians to I want to extend our ability to impact the world with a faith-based educational system. I would love for you to be able to explore what that means to you. I'm personally exploring what that means to me. And this will be a journey that we can take together. So as we engage, as we have conversations, I want you to feel comfortable with questions and reflections, because I'm going to post those for you. When they talk about adults and being continuous learner, I'm a continuous learner myself, and so I really want to explore how we as educators can build our capacity to be proficient in our field, but also to be true to our faith and be able to apply our values in an appropriate and yet professional way. And so I really look forward to exploring that with you on a week-to-week basis. Now, it was 15 minutes and 40 seconds, so I'm going to wrap this up for the week. Please email me or reach out to me if you have any questions, and I will talk to you guys soon.